Upgrade to Shore non-stop protection.
Now, England are 2 days away from knowing if they'll soon be preparing for a World Cup semi-final. They play Colombia on Saturday in their quarter-final. We can get more on this now. We head live to Sydney, and our reporter, Gail Davis. I was just about to wish you good morning, but is, of course, a very good evening to you, and another beautiful backdrop as well.
Yeah, there's a fair few of those around in Australia, aren't they? Very good evening from Sydney. We're going to talk England and we're going to talk Matildas. So we've got somebody who's sort of in both camps, because James Dodd, you are English, but you have been living out here for a while and you're covering both England and Australia in this tournament. And I'm really interested because you were saying you watched the England game from the Matildas game, from the press box. What did you make of England, and what did some of your colleagues make? Because they had, going into this, a lot of them been making England as favourites.
They had, Gail, and I think it was very interesting because naturally, I don't know whether this is an English-Australian thing, you know, following on from the Ashes and whatnot, or whether or not it was just purely a lot of the Australian media, a lot of the other supporting media in there probably wanted England out of the tournament because it gives us the Matildas a better chance should they progress. Nobody was really impressed with England in the press room. It felt like it was a bit of a laboured performance, you know, and we were talking before we came on air about how many times I've seen this with the England men's team, and you just thought they're trying the same things, it's not really happening. But they got the job done, didn't they? And I think with the Matildas in particular, having seen how England got through on that penalty shootout, the Matildas players would have watched that game. They then took to the field afterwards, and I think they were probably thinking, you know what? We don't want to go through that. We've got 75,000 people again at Stadium Australia, a record crowd once again for a Matildas and for a women's football match in Australia. And I think they got the job done professionally. But I think the more this tournament goes on, the more Australia and the Matildas seem to be hitting their stride. And it feels as though England aren't necessarily there yet. Yeah,
they haven't maybe found it, have they? What did you all make of the Lauren James incident? I'm interested, particularly from the Australian perspective.
Yeah, do you know what? It was naturally there was a lot of people in there that did the David Beckham comparison to France '98, and I think while that might be a tad harsh, I think there was such a level of bewilderment amongst the media and the supporters around, because they'd all seen how exciting Lauren James was. I mean, we saw the goal against Denmark, we saw the impact that she's had on this tournament since she's come into the team, and for them to see a superstar to do that, everybody couldn't really work out, you know, what was the root cause of it, whether it was just a purely frustration thing as to how the game was playing and how England were labouring against Nigeria, or whether it was just a personal thing, perhaps she had a running battle with the player or not. Nobody really knew, but when it happened, it was almost like a bit of a disbelief. And then from then on, you thought, you know, England, naturally, they went on to get the job done eventually via penalties, but you did think, wow, England could go out here. And for one, as you say, you know, one of the tournament favourites going into that game and going into this tournament in particular, for them to then labour as much as they did, I think a lot of people saw that England are quite fallible, and you know that moving forwards, England aren't the team that maybe people feared they would be.
Yeah, I think there's been a few home troops amongst a lot of the England players this week. What can we expect for this game against Colombia then? I mean, we were talking before, you've seen quite a bit of Colombia, you watched them beat Germany. They definitely, they don't like having the ball. Yep. They like to exploit that little bit of space behind the fullbacks, which Nigeria did as well. With that in mind, what kind of England might we expect on the weekend from Sarina Wiegman if she's been doing her homework?
I'm 100% sure that she would have been doing her homework, Gail, and I reckon that she would know the likes of Linda Caicedo
I think everybody knows about her now, don't they?
That game against Germany, honestly, when she scored that goal, even the German fans were standing up and applauding that. It was just spectacular. It's one of those World Cup goals that everybody will go viral and be, you know, replayed for years and years to come. And I think they were so open and honest, the Colombian team, about not wanting the ball. You know, every time Germany had it, they said, that's fine, you can have the ball. We're just going to, as soon as you leave us a bit of space, we're going to put those balls forward and play out to the centre forward and let the players play off of her. And I think Sarina Wiegman will have seen that and thinks, you know, the danger of England playing the way they do is that you've got a centre forward playing at left back who naturally doesn't really want to have to defend, and Lucy Bronze, who is so good going forward, whether or not she's going to be drilling into them this week to say, hey, listen, if you do that, we will get absolutely torn apart on the counter.
And with that in mind, does she go back to her back four, do you think? Will you be surprised if that's the way they line up?
I think naturally, given the amount of space that is in those wide areas, if you play three at the back, I think it would be alarming if she didn't do that, because I think, you know, you've seen so many teams in this tournament that have surprised because they've been, as I say, so open and honest about not wanting the ball, knowing that they can cause so much trouble in transition in this World Cup. And you've seen the likes of Jamaica and Haiti caused England problems. I think that's where you've seen. I would be amazed if she doesn't switch back to a 4.
Yeah, we can hear the Australian accent within there, but you say you're sticking to England.
Yes.
We will, over the next few days as well, build up to Matildas, because I think the imagination has been captured here. Picked up the papers this morning. Back page of all the papers are pictures of Sam Kerr and the Australian side. It was at the mural today, the new mural in Bondi as well. So many people gather around. So I think it's going to be a really exciting week, well, a few days now in the build-up to both of those quarterfinals. They could have, of course, meet in the semi-finals, but both teams, big hurdles to overcome first.
They do, but goodness me, so exciting, isn't it? Thank you very much indeed, both of you.